Game 4 of the NBA Finals, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the showdown slate here, $250,000 to first up top on Draftkings. Welcome, guys. My name is DK. I make content for Prize Picks, No Advantage, player prop sites, Draftkings, NBA, NFL, esports, XFL, all that good stuff. Like I said, we're going to be breaking down the showdown slate in this video. If you guys are playing Prize Picks, you can check my video. Just uploaded that, talking about a couple plays I like for Game 4. We had a phenomenal day yesterday, so before we get into the breakdown, let's recap everything. So over on Draftkings, it was a great day for myself. Came close in the big tournament. I came very, very close. I made two lineups, one with a Denver Onslaught build that did not end in the cash, that had Michael Porter Jr. In it, sadly. So that obviously didn't cash, but this was my other lineup. I had Jamal Murray captain in both. I told people on Patreon that was my captain. I was going to him. I thought he was just going to be a bit under-owned. He was sub 50%. Actually came in a bit higher owned than I expected. But, Jamal Murray in the captain almost went for 100. Jokic went for 80. Bam and Adebayo was chalk. He went for 51. So I ate the chalk with Jokic. I ate the chalk with Bam. And I ate the chalk with Kevin Love. So I knew, I was going to eat a good amount of chalk. But, all right, if I'm playing this amount of chalk, I got to get different somehow. So I went to a relatively low-owned Murray in the captain, only 7%. And then Kyle Lowry at sub 20%. And Christian Braun at sub 20%. Both smash, especially Christian Braun, who played extremely well. Ended up playing a good chunk of the fourth quarter over some of the Denver starters. So that was the recap for DFS. And then for Prize Picks, mentioned full swept the board. My two YouTube plays for Game 3 were Jamal Murray over his points and Jimmy Butler over his field goals attempted. Both those hit. Also added Jokic over minutes and Kyle Lowry over assists. So full swept NBA. That's now my second full sweep in the last 4 days. We full swept WNBA over the weekend. And then I also put a few units on Denver Moneyline. Came out with over $350 profit from that. And almost hit my second half. Prize Picks ran a promotion where you get $20 back guaranteed if you played a second half slip. I almost hit a 25x, but Duncan Robinson garbage time ended up chalking that. But I went 5-1 in my second half slip. So it was a really great day overall for myself. Great day at DFS. Great day in Prize Picks. Won a good chunk of money from Denver Moneyline as well. So hope you guys had a good day as well. And let's see if we can keep it going for Game 4. Really quick, also the sponsor of the video, that's going to be No House Advantage. If you guys are not on No House Advantage, you can use the code DKDFS for a 100% match up to $100. It'll be linked down below. My advice for you is to get on as many of these DFS sites and many of these sports books as possible. Take advantage of those promos. That's what I did with all the sports books. Like when I first got into it, I basically maxed the promotion. So if a sports book had like 100% match up to whatever that dollar amount was, I would put that dollar amount in. Yeah, that's one of the best tips I can give you to profit long term is to take advantage of those promotions. Again, link down below if you guys are interested. Code DKDFS. Also, you're gonna have fun playing No House Advantage. They're making a lot of improvements. They have a lot of promos as well. All right, so we'll start off with the Denver side, and first we can take a look at the rotations last game. So no real changes for Denver, other than you did see a first couple, or basically a minute and a half of Reggie Jackson, which surprised me in the first quarter, but he did not play at all for the rest of the game. But basically, again, 8 guys. You saw that Christian Braun, Jeff Green got solid minutes because, number one, you had KCP foul trouble. Number two, you had Michael Porter Jr. struggling once again. And then for Miami, no real big changes either. You didn't see Highsmith in until garbage time. I think that could change for Game 4. Kevin Love didn't really play the best. You only saw a first quarter and third quarter shift. No second quarter shift for Love this time around. But yeah, pretty big minutes for Bam and Jimmy. I will say I think those two will get a minutes bump, but nothing really else to mention there for the rotation for Miami. All right, so with Denver, you got Jokic at 15.6. He's once again going to be extremely popular, right? What was he, 80+% owned in the big tournament, right? Where's Jokic? I got too many tabs here. 83% owned. So really doesn't matter what price point they make him. He's going to be massive chalk. I don't think we're going to spend a ton of time here. I mean, can you fade Nikola Jokic in a large tournament? Yes, something weird can happen. He could have a really bad game. He could get in foul trouble. but it's a tough fade. It definitely is a tough fade, even at that price point. Jamal Murray, 11-6. I like him once again. It'll be really interesting to see what the ownership is between him and Jimmy Butler for Game 4. They're similar price points. They actually came in at similar ownership, which I was a bit surprised about. I really thought Jimmy Butler's projected to be more popular, and I really thought he would be. But they came in pretty similar ownership in the large field tournament. But you saw that minutes bump for both Murray and Jokic, right? From games 1 and 2 to game 3, 45 minutes for Jamal Murray and 44 minutes for Nikola Jokic. In the first 2 games, they were averaging around 40 minutes each. Well, they got that minutes bump. So that's pretty significant. I will say, again, we'll talk about Miami. I do think you're going to get that bump in minutes for the 2 main Miami guys and basically a must-win game. But I think you're going to see mid-40s minutes from both Jokic and Jamal Murray once again. Michael Porter Jr., 7K. Back-to-back really bad games for him. Back-to-back games where he struggled defensively and back-to-back games where he struggled shooting the ball. So he's going to be really low owned. I will just say, like, that doesn't mean he's going to shoot this bad every game. Like Michael Porter Jr.'s had some really big games in the playoffs, right? So he's one of those guys where, it's kind of been up and down. The minutes been up and down. And if he's playing well, they can extend him. If he's struggling, they will bench him. More so on the defensive end. If he struggles defensively, Mike Malone's not afraid to bench him. So I will say Michael Porter Jr. is a guy that I like for GPPs because I think the ownership will be low. I don't think a lot of people will click on him at the price point. But here's the thing with Michael Porter Jr., right? In GPPs, I always look at what is the upside, right? I don't really look at the downside because when you're a tournament player, you're going to lose most nights, okay? So I look at it like I think the average Joe will look at it and be kind of scared off of Michael Porter Jr., right? Because he sees these last couple of games like, oh no, like, I can't afford to take 10 fantasy points from Michael Porter Jr. at this price point. I can't play him, right? And that's the wrong mindset, right? You have to look at, well, what are the range of outcomes? What are the range of outcomes for Michael Porter Jr.? Well, the range of outcomes are on the high end, he can play 40 plus minutes and go for 40 plus fantasy points. I mean, he played 43 minutes in game 1 and went for almost 40 fantasy points. That was game 1 of this series. So I know the last couple games have been bad, and I'm not even saying I'm going to play Michael Porter Jr., but don't have that mindset of like kind of being scared. Like in tournaments, you have to look at the upside. You have to look at the upside more than the downside because you're going to lose most nights when you play GPPs. Aaron Gordon, much safer option of the two between him and Michael Porter Jr. I like the ceiling more than MPJ. I think Aaron Gordon's much safer. I don't really see a massive ceiling on him. Most of the time he's going to go for like 25 to 30 fantasy points. He went for 34 last game. So I think Gordon's a relatively safe option in the mid-range, assuming he can stay out of foul trouble. And he has done a pretty good job staying out of foul trouble. He's been the primary defender there on Jimmy Butler. KCP is another guy I'll mention, kind of like him for tournaments. Back-to-back bad shooting games once again. 3 straight bad shooting games for KCP. Again, that's possible. Like he's not going to do a ton other than shoot the ball. But if he's making the shots, he can. This guy does have a ceiling. So I think he's a good contrarian play. Once again, I think he'll be low-owned. Bruce Brown's 5K, his minutes have ticked up a little bit, 27, 29 minutes. Again, with Michael Porter Jr. struggling, KCP foul trouble, you saw a slight bump in minutes. Again, usually if someone struggles in the starting lineup, it's Bruce Brown that benefits. So at 5K, I think he's a solid option, a guy that can stuff a stat sheet. No real super strong takes on Bruce Brown, but I think he's a relatively safe option that could see, 30-plus minutes if he's either playing well or if someone's struggling in the starting lineup. And Christian Brown, I think, will be pretty popular, especially after back-to-back games where he's gone for basically averaging 20 fantasy points over the last couple. I don't think we can continue to expect him to play this well, but I think he's, carved out a nice spot in the sort of, I'm not really worried about Christian Brown barely playing in this game. I think he's probably going to get at least 10 minutes. Could get more if he's playing really well. So 2.2K, I like Christian Brown, but really interesting to see what his ownership is. I have a feeling he's going to be a bit overowned. So that's my only concern with Christian Brown here. But yeah, if he plays 15 to 20 minutes at this price point, he's going to stand out as a great value. Jeff Green, 1.8K, 16, 17 minutes last couple games. I mean, not really a guy with a high ceiling, but he's cheap. He's going to play rotation minutes, so he's once again firmly in play for Denver. And that's it. I guess could Reggie Jackson see another minute in the first quarter? Sure. But I'm not banking on that happening again. And then for Miami, I think the only thing we had to mention here is the status of Tyler Hero. He was supposed to be back for game 3, but was not able to return. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, if Hero plays, I don't really think it affects Jimmy or Bam too much, but it would really just hurt the role players. Martin, Vincent, Lowry, Strus, Duncan Robinson, even Kevin Love, all those guys I think would lose minutes. So yeah, if Hero plays, it's going to affect all those guys. But top end, so Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, right? You saw 40 minutes from Jimmy Butler in Game 3. Bam Adebayo played 41 minutes. Here's where I think the big change happens. I think you get that minutes bump now for Miami. In basically a must-win game, I think you're going to see like 45 minutes from both Jimmy and Bam. I would not be surprised if one or both these guys plays the entire game either. Game 6, Game 7 for Boston, or against Boston, you saw 47 minutes for Jimmy, and then 43 in a blowout. And then Bam Adebayo was going to play the entire game. Game 7 dealt with a little bit of foul trouble plus a blowout. He played 46 minutes in Game 6. So must-win game here for Miami. This is where I think you get the bump. I think you see 45 minutes plus from both Jimmy and Bam. So Jimmy at 12-2 has been quiet in the finals. He really has. But I think he gets that minutes bump. I think he could play the entire game. And yeah, I like Jimmy Butler. It'll be interesting to see, again, what the ownership is between him and Jamal Murray. That's something I'm really interested to see. And then Bam Adebayo, I think, will once again be very popular. If he stays out of foul trouble, he's a really good play. He's been chalk last couple slates. I think he'll be chalk once again. I think my only concern is potential foul trouble, but I think you might see 45, 46 minutes for Bam Adebayo here. So like the two guys, the main guys for Miami, a lot at the top. The rest of Miami, Caleb Martin, kind of tough to get him at the price point. Did play 32 minutes last game. You know, for GPP, sure. I mean, we saw, you know, to close the Boston series, he played extremely well. So that ceiling's still there with Caleb Martin. Gabe Vincent was a bit overowned last slate. He kind of came back down to earth, but most of the time he's going to play 30-plus minutes. Did deal with a little bit of foul trouble. I think he's a reasonable option in the mid-range. Kyle Lowry is 4.6K. Should play somewhere in the neighborhood of like mid-20s minutes. Could play a little bit more. Played 30 minutes last game. Again, he did have some Gabe Vincent foul trouble. I think he's a relatively safe value play, that being Kyle Lowry. So might be a bit overowned after last game. Strus and Duncan Robinson, you know what I'm going to say here. Comes down to can they make their shots? Well, Max Strus really didn't make a shots last game, but did have kind of an outlier peripheral stats game going for 5 assists, 4 boards, 1 block, 1 steal. You rarely see that from Max Strus. And then Duncan Robinson, 3-2. Really didn't do much until garbage time. So those two were in play for tournaments for me. Strus is the guy I'm a little more confident in minutes-wise just because he's going to start. And then Kevin Love's 3K. So he was massive chalk last game. Kind of had a bit of a disappointing game. Only 9 fantasy points in 16 minutes. If he starts again, I think it'll be very chalky once again. But I will say, he didn't play the best, and again, he's just not great defensively, so there still is a chance that Kevin Love could get, benched early on in this game. So another one will be interesting to see what the ownership is on Love, but I'm pretty sure he'll be at least 50%, probably higher than that. And then Highsmith got a DMP at 1-4 until the very end of the game. You never know. I mean, Spo has made adjustments before. You've seen games where Highsmith DNP and then came back and played like 20-plus minutes, so I'll just mention him in a large field tournament. I think there's a chance if Miami messes with the rotation, maybe he's a guy that could benefit. And then Cody Zeller, he'll basically play whatever Bam does not play. I'm not really on Zeller this game, though, because I think Bam gets that minutes bump. The only reason I would play Cody Zeller, I think, would be is if you think Bam gets in foul trouble, which is possible. If that is possible, if Bam gets in foul trouble, they probably go to Zeller 1.2. And then Tyler Hero, again, we don't know the status of him yet. It's only like one game or one day off, right? The game Wednesday and then game Friday. So I would lean towards him not playing, but also this is like a must-win game for Miami. So I guess you never know. If Tyler Hero does play, number one, we got to see, is he on a limit? So is he on a limit? And then number two, is he starting? Right? So like if Tyler Hero is starting and not on a limit, I think he's my favorite mid-range play on the slate. Like, I would assume he would play 35 to 40 minutes, and he would be a phenomenal option. If Tyler Hero's on a limit, okay, what is that limit? Is the limit 30 minutes? If that's the case, I still like him. Is the limit 20 minutes? Then not so much, right? So there's just a lot of unknown with Hero. It's going to depend on the news for me for what I want to do. And then with the news of Hero, it's going to depend on what I do with these other role players. Martin, Vincent, Lowry, Strus, Duncan, right? How many minutes can Hero play? If he's only going to be limited to a strict amount of minutes, then it's not going to affect these role players too much. If Hero can play 30-plus minutes, then yes, it's going to affect basically everyone outside of Jimmy and Bam. So I think that's the big question mark right now, is the status of Tyler Hero and what exactly, if he plays, how many minutes can he play? Yeah, so that's going to wrap up the video. As always, guys, if you do enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Check out my prize picks video. I just uploaded before this one. Again, we full swept the board yesterday. Hoping to keep that going again. And other than that, good luck, guys. We'll see you all in the next video.